Dobby, congratulations for taking out the 2020 FBi SMAC Award for Best Music Video. So take us back to writing I Can't Breathe. Did you always know that you were going to make a music video for the track?
Yeah. I knew there was going to be a visual element to it. You know, when Barkaa and I got together to make the song, we knew it would be more powerful with people seeing something, especially like with the statue involved and with us wearing the shirts and, you know, like with the vision of these two here, like having it all together, we knew that that's what was needed to push that message. So yeah, definitely, you know, and I'm super grateful to be able to have Luke and Ben on the project as well, because like their vision has just been like, it's so great to see it on the screen, and how we worked together was seamless, so effortless, and
100%.
Oh, it was great. These two are awesome. Yeah.
So how did you approach Ben and Luke?
Well, I've known you for ages. Ben.
Yeah, we used to live together on campus, man. Yeah.
We used to live in New College Village at UNSW, and
Well, because Ben, you shot the Peregrine video as well, didn't you?
Yeah. So we've collaborated on a few projects in the past, and so we've had a pretty good working relationship over the years, and so I think it was pretty natural, and as always, thank you for letting me but yeah, I mean, it was great for him to always, you know, hit me up with projects, and I always really appreciate it, and you know, it's always amazing working with Ryan all the time, and having Luke jump on board on the creative side was just absolutely helpful, and
well, because it was in such a heavy moment of 2020. I think that was probably, like, looking back on 2020 as a whole, I mean, June was quite emotionally intense, and we were all feeling very fatigued as well.
Yeah.
So, Luke, when Ryan kind of released I Can't Breathe and approached you for the video, where were you kind of, what kind of position were you in there?
Man. Mentally, it was, like we're talking about, like I've got a small following, and that June moment was like influx of everything. It was like all different types of platforms, mainly non-Indigenous, wanting all this knowledge to be sucked out of us, and I was like, no, it's not happening. Let's not give that a little bit too much time. Like, let me do me for a bit. And then Ryan was like, can we do this video? I need to say something, and I felt like that was the time when I was like, if I'm gonna say something, it's not gonna be me, it's gonna be via this, whatever this was. And you were like, can you do all of it? And I was like, no, we need this dude, because I was in on my mind with you both. Hey.
It's funny, we've all worked, like, in Sara. All worked together.
Oh my god, I forgot about my mind. It's all coming full circle.
Yeah, because my mind, we were all in it, you know? Like,
exactly.
Being able to put that project together, and
that's basically how we all met, pretty much.
That's right, and for that video, you know, the project was like to showcase black faces, black talent, and for this, it was, you know, obviously the message of everything that went down in June, what we were trying to get people to realize, you know, on a national level, the injustice of our peoples here in this country. And as soon as I came to you about it, you were already coming up with ideas and like, all right, let's film at the Angel Place location with the cages and the, you know, oh, let's go to Captain Cook statue and let's, you know, try and film something in front of that. You were like, I've got a friend, Cyclorama, that we could check out. Auntie, you know, Auntie Lizzie Jarrett being involved,
that was so good.
Having her in was such an honor, and
And also, like, just kind of take us back as well to when you were writing the track, because I remember when you like put together all of those lyrics, wasn't it right off the back of when the weekend protests in the States had just, like, everything had kind of just erupted, and there was a reporter here from Australia that was over there, and she was saying to one of the protesters, you know, oh, it's really good that you can share this knowledge because a lot of people back in Australia don't, like, this doesn't happen back home, so a lot of people don't know what's happening, and there was so much fury over that comment. Like, I remember being in the car with my partner at the time, and we were listening to it, and it was like no one had really made a comment on it, and she said that, and we both just were like in like disgust, and and it was just like a whole new like, you know, wave of anger.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah,
we didn't
that's right.
we thought we did like already, you know, kind of exhibited enough anger, and then that happened, it was like another wave of it.
Yeah.
And then it was off the back of that, that's when you started putting together I Can't Breathe.
I'm so glad that we can talk about this with my mob here, because like I've been saying it to other people like in interviews, and you know, like educating, like explaining why that was so painful and so hurtful, and
That
like
comment.
obviously we all get that here, but like, you know, the protests happened, George Floyd was killed, and we understood immediately what was going on. David Dungay, we understood immediately what is continuing here in this country. And then like when that reporter, Australian reporter, went to was in America, at the Black Lives Matter protests in California, and then just kind of like degrade, like condescendingly saying, oh, like, but why are you protesting? Why are you looting? Why are you this? Why are you that? I don't know what I'm doing. What's my job? You know? And then she was like, oh, I'm so glad. Thank you for telling me, you know, because we don't have that problem in Australia. Not only is that incorrect, but like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why would you say that?
With a huge platform as well.
Yeah.
And a huge responsibility. And like, did exactly what we were getting angry about, which was like whitewashing pain.
Yeah. You have to stand up and make a conscious effort to say something that incorrect. You have to be so blatantly in denial of Australia's history to say, no, we don't have racism in our country.
Or just brainwashed, or just absolutely brainwashed.
Yeah.
She's just a product of the system.
Yeah. And whether or not knows what she's doing, it's like that's the symptom of the systemic racism that we live in.
That's right. Yeah.
This denial, this invisibility, this sweep it under the rug. Prime Minister saying, you know, slavery didn't exist. You know, these are the things that do need to be acknowledged, and this is why we made the video.
Yeah. When you were writing those lyrics, did you have Barkaa in mind immediately as
immediately, because I wrote I made the beat, and then I was like, and then I was adding strings and all of this like orchestration in the third verse, and I was like, this could only be like set on fire by Barkaa. And I called her up. I was like, sis, can you please bless this track? She was like, but at this time, it took me like 2 weeks to like get the lyrics like where I wanted it to be and say exactly what I felt like I needed to get off my chest, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I called her up. She was like, yeah, I could write something. Next day, brother, I got the lyrics. I was like, what?
What's that?
2 weeks. 12 hours.
She's good. She's good. She's
Yeah. And so then when it came down to video time and kind of you guys coming together and creating visuals for it and planning for it and planning for the people to be in it, myself included, just throw that in there if you forgot. But like, I mean, the way you guys kind of all approached us as well, like it very much felt like, from my perspective, like a community effort. You know, like it wasn't like we were going for like, you know, the kind of normal processes, I guess, that you would expect of like a creative project. It was very much like, you know, everyone had a responsibility, everyone had a very important role. Like, you know, when you messaged me, it was very much just of like, you know, family and community and friends coming together for something for a message and a story that was super necessary at that time. That's so what was it kind of like, all of you coming together and deciding like how you wanted to kind of piece everyone together?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Hey, like for me, it's, I think innately as Indigenous people, it's community driven straight off the bat. There's very rarely the ego kind of thing. Like when you came to me wanting to do a lot of it, I was like, I can't do all of that, and I'm okay with not doing that. That's why we had to get this talent and skill and like to play that role. And I was like, Angel Place and Cook statue was like my visuals, and that's literally like camera angles. Everything over here was just like cyclorama. Couldn't have been done. So that's why it's just 100%. And then we got the team in at the end at the cyclorama, and like, I think they were very specific as well, because everyone that came along has a strong soul and a strong spirit.
Absolutely.
And it really amplified that as well. So
and
I think that was very important for
definitely
for us to show that strength of community. And I mean, we would have loved 50,000 of us.
Right. Totally.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And I think also as well from a production point of view, it's much easier from a turnaround point of view to just have a more collaborative effort, because we knew we wanted to get this out pretty quick, because the longer we took with it, the less relevant it would become. Yeah. So we wanted to make it fast.
Yeah, definitely.
And a strong aspect of that was just, you know, letting everyone pitch in,
Yeah.
and, you know, I think having everyone's help was, you know, far more helpful than just, you know, doing it on my own and, you know, just with Luke.
100%. Yeah.
So it was really good to have that.
I guess it was also from being there on the day as well. It was so important that there were so many different heads in the room as well, from different backgrounds as well. You know, like we're not a monolithic, homogenized people. Like we're a huge, vast diversity of 250 different nations and language groups, and you know, we all come from different spaces geographically. We've all been impacted by colonization and white supremacy differently as well, but we all have a shared kind of collective understanding of everything. And so there was kind of that sense in the room as well, like everyone had come from different places of, you know, experience, lived experience as well.
That's right.
Having Auntie Lizzie Jarrett in the room, I think was so crucial. Like the fact that you guys got her on board for that was so important. When she came into the room, you could feel like she filled the whole room up when she came in. Like she didn't come in alone, you know what I mean? And so it was really quite important having her there. But there was even like, kind of tell us a bit as well, you know, for people that don't know, like there were even some moments in there where we kind of felt like, you know, maybe we weren't doing the right thing
100%.
either.
Yeah,
and there were things that needed to kind of get flagged as well to make sure that the images looked good.
Yeah.
And I remember like Luke kind of flagged that with us as well. Like we had to kind of get that balance right too.
There was that fine line for sure.
Yeah. So there were two moments while we were filming that really brought us back to the message of what we were doing. One time we were, you know, we were getting hyped because we were all together and we were just really like so happy to have that staunch blackness in the room, and
the energy was
feeding
really
off
high.
of each other's energy.
Yeah.
And in the filming during the group shots, we started getting hyped and we were like, all right, you dance, and everyone was, you know, getting down and
I think because it was middle of the pandemic as well, we all hadn't been together for so long, so there was a bit of excitement.
Exactly.
And it was just really good positive energy on set as well. It was just really fun and just added to the whole thing. And
and Auntie Lizzie, who by the way, if for folks that don't know, is a relation of David Dungay Jr. So it was so crucial for her to be there to really demonstrate that message, but also she was there to, you know, she brought our heads back in, and she was like, listen, we got to remember what we're doing this for. And, you know, the message that, you know, we want us to share to everyone. Do we want them to dance along to this track? No, we don't. We want them to think. We want them to, you know.
Yeah. So, and like you kind of brought that up as well. Like it was good. It was good. Like it was a good voice to have in the room to kind of just be like, you know, gently reminding everyone, you know, like it's really deadly that we're all here together.
Yeah.
But what are we here for?
Pull it back in.
I was just watching Auntie Lizzie in that moment because we were like popping it and we were like going all out. Like people were shaking their legs and like they were showing their best dance moves that they would have done at the Gladdy. And I was like, I can't breathe is not what that is.
Yeah.
Auntie Lizzie was kind of like, oh, and I was like, maybe bring that back, bring it back. Like, let's think
I
about,
learned a lot in that moment, definitely.
And that was good. Like that, and that's what I mean about like these kind of creative processes and the story that you're telling. Like that's why it's so important to have so many different people in the room to flag this kind of stuff. Like it's so important for the engine of what you're doing, the purpose of it. Like it's so necessary. I don't think we have it enough sometimes as well in a lot of storytelling rooms.
It's always better in the creative process, I think, to have multiple voices. To a certain extent, absolutely.
100%.
It's always better, I think.
We had our own community consultation in the room. You know,
in a way,
we were able to be able to be like, well, this is, you know, to feed off of each other's feedback and go, all right, this is how we want to do it, you know. And we don't have enough of that, definitely. Yeah. Like in the broader scheme.
Which kind of just goes to show as well, like why, you know, where this song was coming from was always coming from like the place, like the place it's supposed to come from. It was always coming from that community mind. It was always coming from that mind of like caring for community and ensuring that like, you know, the right voices are at the forefront of the conversation. Totally. It was like I Can't Breathe never came from a selfish place. Yeah,
Not at all.
it was always coming from a place of like, you know, making sure that the right voices were being heard, because like in that moment, that was what was the kind of the shared frustration.
100%.
Yeah.
But I also think a lot of your stuff comes from that community stuff as well.
Yeah.
So you allow that. You're not ever speaking about what you want or your egos. You're speaking on a collective. And
Right.
you speak through
Right.
what you feel. And I think that's important to highlight, is that your art is actually highlighting community injustices and community strength and empowerment. And you allow us in to help you visualize that. So
Yeah.
appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, for, you know, your collaboration and getting us on board with it, and congratulations.
Hey!
COVID hugs.
Oh, nice! We did it!
Thank you, guys.
No,
Thank you for having us.
This
It was
has been great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.